Sterling is sitting in his ergonomic chair, staring at a spreadsheet that represents 6 figures of corporate value, and he feels like he's made of lead. He's burnt out. That's the word he uses when he talks to his therapist. That's the word he uses when he calls out of work on a Tuesday. He feels a profound, heavy fatigue that sleep doesn't seem to touch. He's doing everything the self-care gurus told him to do. He takes the bubble baths. He does the meditation. He goes on the healing retreats. But the moment he returns to his desk, the weight returns. He feels like a high-performance engine being forced to idle for 8 hours a day. Then, Sterling has a thought that feels like a slap in the face. What if I'm not tired? What if I'm just under-challenged? He realizes that burnout has become a status symbol in 2026. It suggests you are so important, so busy and so dedicated that your body finally gave out. But Sterling looks at his day. He spends 4 hours in meetings that could have been emails. He spends 3 hours perfecting a slide deck no one will read. He realizes he isn't exhausted from overexertion. He is exhausted from triviality. Sterling isn't burnt out. He is profoundly, dangerously bored. He is suffering from bore-out, the psychological distress caused by a lack of meaningful challenge. Tonight, Sterling is stopping the recovery. He is going to start the attack. Sterling begins to look at the data. He realizes that the human brain doesn't actually crave rest. It craves purposeful stress. He learns about the Yerkes-Dodson law, which shows that performance and psychological well-being actually drops when there is too little stimulation. When Sterling is bored, his brain's reward system, the ventral tegmental area, VTA, stops producing the dopamine associated with pursuit. Without pursuit, the brain enters a low-energy state to conserve resources. This feels exactly like fatigue. It feels like depression. It feels like burnout. He realizes that self-care was actually making him worse. By resting more, he was telling his brain that the danger was overexertion when the real danger was atrophy. He learns that the heart rate of a person performing a high-stakes, exciting task is often the same as a person experiencing an anxiety attack. The difference is agency. In the USA, we have pathologized the grind so much that we've forgotten that humans are designed for it, provided the grind is ours. Sterling realizes he's been trying to heal a wound that doesn't exist. He doesn't need a vacation. He needs a mission. He is moving from a recovery mindset to a flow state pursuit. Sterling implements the complexity inversion protocol. He realizes that if his 9-to-5 isn't providing the challenge, he must build a second life that does. He follows the flow state formula by Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. He realizes that flow happens at the sweet spot, where the challenge level is exactly 4% above his current skill level. The side siege. Sterling starts a high-risk side project in the hours between 9 p.m. and 1 a.m. It's a complex coding project that requires him to learn a new language. The physical red line. He stops doing relaxing cardio. He starts high-intensity combat sports, Muay Thai. He wants to be in a position where he has to be 100% present, or he gets hit. The intellectual deep end. He stops reading business light books and starts reading dense primary source philosophy and physics. He wants his brain to itch again. He notices an immediate shift. The fatigue vanishes at 5:01 p.m. When he's working on his own project, he has more energy at midnight than he had at noon in the office. He realizes that energy is not a finite resource, it is a generated one. The more he demands of himself, the more his body produces. He discovers the second wind phenomenon. By pushing through the boredom instead of retreating from it, he triggers a surge of norepinephrine that makes him feel like a god. He is no longer a victim of the office. He is a secret architect. Sterling's biggest hurdle isn't his energy, it's his identity. He realized he liked the burnout story. It gave him an excuse for his lack of results. It allowed him to complain with his coworkers and feel a sense of trauma bonding. He adopts the radical agency policy. He stops using the word tired. He stops talking about burnout. When people ask how he is, he says, "I'm under-leveraged." He realizes that the word burnt out is a low-status signal. It says, "I cannot handle the pressure of my life." He starts gatekeeping his misery. He realizes that complaining is a leak. Every time he tells someone how stressed he is bleeding out the tension he could be using as fuel. He enters a dark phase. He stops hanging out with the burnout club, the people who meet for drinks just to talk about how much they hate their bosses. He realizes that boredom is the brain's hunger. If you are bored, your brain is telling you to find new territory. By numbing that boredom with Netflix or alcohol, you are essentially starving your soul. Sterling decides to embrace the hunger. He starts walking into work with a predatory energy. He isn't there to survive the day. He's there to harvest the resources he needs to build his own empire in the dark. He has moved from the employee class to the sovereign class. 3 months later, Sterling is a different species. He is working more hours than ever, but he feels lighter. His background anxiety has disappeared. He realizes that anxiety is often just unused energy that has turned inward and started eating the host. By channeling all that energy into high-stakes challenges, he has cleared his internal system. He looks at his corporate job because he no longer needs it for his identity, because he has his own mission. He is actually better at it. He is unfazed. He takes risks his coworkers are too afraid to take. He speaks with a downward inflection that suggests he is ready to walk away at any moment. He has achieved cognitive sovereignty. He no longer checks the vibes of the office to see how he should feel. He is his own power plant. He realized that the burnout he felt for years was actually just the pain of potential. His soul was screaming because it was being underutilized. Now that he is at 90% capacity, the pain is gone. He feels the peace of the warrior. He realizes that human happiness is a byproduct of high-intensity pursuit. Sterling is standing on his balcony in Chicago. The wind is cold, but he's in a t-shirt. He looks sharp, lean, and intensely awake. He looks at the camera, at you. "You're lying to yourself," he says. "You're lying in bed, scrolling through mental health content, telling yourself that you need rest. You're telling yourself that you're burnt out because it sounds better than 'I'm stuck.' I'm going to tell you the truth. You aren't tired. You're uninspired. Your life is too safe. Your challenges are too small. Your self-care is actually a slow-acting poison that is making you softer every day. You don't need a spa day. You need a hard start. Starting tonight, I want you to find a project that scares you, something that requires every ounce of your focus, something where you might actually fail. Stop trying to heal and start trying to conquer. The fatigue you feel is your potential rotting inside you. Give it a way out. Don't go to sleep. Go to work. You aren't burnt out. You're just getting started. The boredom ends now.